something that has been recurring throughout our conversation so far is your experience with education and educating others. And I know that after PayPal came Remix, which you're proudly wearing on your t-shirt right now. So tell us about that. How did Remix happen?
Yeah, well, so of course, this is a COVID story. COVID hits, and I am teaching full-time by now. So I left PayPal in 2019. Testing JavaScript did amazing. It replaced my PayPal salary, and so I'm just full-time teacher. At the beginning of 2020, I'm talking with Ryan Florence, and he and I are talking about like teaming up. We teamed up for a short period to do something that he was working on called workshop.me, where he would just get a bunch of educators and schedule workshops for them, and then they'd go around and deliver workshops. So that was actually the workshop to Trulia was through workshop.me. And so that he ended up folding on that, but then he was starting to think, hey, I want to make a React library, like not a library for writing code, but like an education library. And so we talked about that a little bit, and I just decided, you know what? I did testing JavaScript with Joel Hooks, the Egghead team and everything. I want to do the React thing with them too. And I have like this big vision for what I want that to be. So I'm going to stick with Joel on that. And Ryan's like, well, that's fine. I'm back with Michael Jackson now, and we're doing our education stuff again. And we're actually hiring workshop people. And so he's got like this React training business that's going super duper well. This is January of 2020. And so February shows up, things are starting to look a little bit weird. And then March shows up. And by this time, I'm like full on like doing epic React stuff and getting ready. I've got like a bunch of workshops that I've been working on to teach React. And I think by this time I'd already started recording videos for Epic React and everything. And so I'm just like fully online. I'm not really doing in-person stuff, but Ryan is doing like a bunch of in-person stuff. That's just how his business works. It's all like travel, deliver the workshop. COVID hits and all of that just disappears instantly, just like gone. And they had like 4 employees. They had to let them all go like right away because they had like 2 weeks of runway because suddenly everything is gone. And so it was really, really sad. So they let them go right away so that they could get ahead of everybody else and start like find a good job before things get really bad. And so it's like really sad for them. It worked out super well for me because guess where all those people got their education? From online stuff. And so it ended up working out really well for me. And Ryan and Michael just, they did have like some online stuff, but they weren't really motivated to invest in that. So they decide, or like Ryan decides he wants to like start delivering some sort of product or something. They're working on something, and so he's building the site for that product. I can't remember what the product was, but in the process, like he doesn't want to use Next.js. It just doesn't work for the way that he develops software, and so he starts working on like. He follows the docs that React Router had on, which he wrote, by the way, just like for people to know, like Ryan made and Michael made React Router. So he's following those docs on server rendering to build like a full stack app. And in the process, he's building these utilities, and he's a framework developer. Like he just naturally develops this framework, and he starts working with Michael on it. He's like, Michael, check this out. Like, let's play around with this. And they start building that out. And then they show me and they're like, Kent, this is pretty cool. What do you think? And so I'm giving them feedback, hyping them up. And so by the time that I launch Epic React in October of 2020, or like end of September, Ryan and Michael have decided, okay, this is what we're going to do. We're going to build a framework. And not just that, we're actually going to sell a framework. That is our product. We are not going to do an open source. We're going to sell it. And so in November of 2020, they launch remix.run. And actually, if you go to remix.run today, it looks exactly the same as it did in November 2020.
Really?
Well, no, that's wrong. I take that back. looked different. It was November 2021 when we launched V1 that we updated that. So sorry, take that
I'm
back.
going to see if I can pull it up on Wayback while you're talking.
Yeah. You can take a look at it on Wayback. It was cool then too. So it was a developer preview. It's pre 1.0. You could buy a license. It was like $250 for an individual, and like I can't remember how much it was for a team of 5+, but and I bought it instantly. In fact, I bought it when they were still testing it, and it was $0 for me. They had to cancel my order so I could reorder it. I was so excited by this because Ryan had shown it to me a couple of times, and it was really interesting. It really followed the way that I like to develop software. And then after I gave them a lot of really good feedback. I rebuilt my website using Remix. And then around August of 2021, they decide, you know what? Doing this is actually before then, I was talking with them like, hey, listen, I love Remix. I want to redo Epic React, teaching people how to use Remix. But this is really challenging because it's a paid framework. And like, it's not the first time in the world software developers have had to pay for their tools, but we don't really pay for frameworks. Like that's just not a thing. And so there's all this friction that I'm going to have teaching people a paid framework. And so
it's definitely a barrier to entry where it's like, if you're just like a kid fresh out of high school, you're like, hey, I want to learn something. You're broke. Come on. Everyone's broke. You're not going to be able to drop. How much was it again for the?
It was $250.
$250. That's pretty substantial back in 2020.
Yeah.
So, for interesting.
It like just adds to the cost of my my course, right? So we were talking about like, well, maybe they get like preview when they're going through the course or like something. We're trying to figure out something to work out. But then August rolls around and Ryan's like, actually, never mind. Don't worry about it. We're going to open source it. And I was like, oh, that sounds great. And what's your monetization strategy? It's like, we don't know, but we just took a bunch of money from some VCs. So we have some time to figure it out, and we're going to hire people. And around October of 21, Ryan was like, hey, listen, how about instead of you teaching a workshop on this brand new framework, you just come and work for us or work with us as a co-founder. So I guess that happens sometimes, like co-founders can join way later, but join us as a co-founder and you can be in charge of the education stuff. And like your education is free. Like you just do the docs, you do community building, like all that stuff is you. And then, you know, after a couple of years, you can take off and make your course when it's actually like a popular thing that people are using. And so that's what I did. I joined up in like October, November 21. And then we launched V1 in 2021. That's when it went open source and it was a big hit. And I instantly started planning the conference, Remix Conf. That was like 6 months later, and we got 300 people to that at 6 months after open sourcing.
That's crazy.
It was fabulous. We had so much fun. So anyway, and I was there for 10 months before we sold it to Shopify, but I'm going to stop talking now.